Hello everyone, this is coadb.com, or the Coat of Arms database, and today we're briefly going to discuss 10 different ways in which people received a coat of arms. Now, the first and oldest way was that coats of arms were self-assumed. In medieval times, during battle, one of the main tactics was a cavalry charge with a lance, in which the men were in tight formation. So at that point in the battle, each side knew who the other side was. But once they charged at each other, and men were knocked down from their horses and so on and so forth, things became chaotic as hand-to-hand combat ensued. So friend and foe needed to determine each other from themselves. So you wanted to know who was on your side of the battle versus who was on the enemy's side. And the way to do that was to paint your shield. Paint decorative designs on your shield, crosses, lions, eagles, so on and so forth, to distinguish yourself. Okay, that was the first way. But eventually, that gave way to arms being granted by kings and emperors and monarchs. So I'm going to read this statement right here. The tournament is supposed to have been invented in the mid-11th century in France. Ambitious knights traveled around Europe fighting in tournaments at fortnightly intervals. Later in the Middle Ages, the bearing of arms came to be accepted as an essential prerequisite of participation in a tournament. The growing importance of military pageantry and its association with the tournament would have excluded those of insufficient social standing who were unable to meet the expense, and this would have helped to restrict the use of arms to the knightly class. Thus, arms came to be seen as the mark of noble status, and were granted by the Holy Roman Emperor and the kings of Europe as a corollary to ennoblement. And next to this we see an actual ennoblement document from the Holy Roman Empire featuring a seal and the coat of arms. And one such person who was ennobled by the Holy Roman Empire and given a coat of arms was Balthasar Katzmeier, born in 1562. And here we see his grant of arms signed by German Emperor Rudolf II of Habsburg, and an enlargement of the coat of arms featuring what I assume is a cat, given the surname Katzmeier. Another ennoblement with a coat of arms was Jorgen Wichmann, a Danish industrialist, landowner, and judge, who was ennobled via letters patent in 1788. And along with his brother, they assumed the surname Witchfield. Now, another way in which you could get a coat of arms was if you were granted or awarded a hereditary title. And one example of that is the baronets in Britain that were granted. It was a hereditary title that was awarded to you that could be passed on to your eldest born child. And one example here was Sir Roger Martin, who was born in 1639, and he was made the first baronet of Long Melford. Another example would be John Phillips. The Phillips baronetcy of Picton Castle in Pembroke, Wales, was created in the baronetage of England in 1621 for Sir John Phillips, a Welsh landowner and member of the House of Commons. The next way that you could receive a coat of arms was for valor and victory in military battle. And here we see the coat of arms of Captain John Smith. Now, he was a mercenary soldier in the service of Sigismund Bathory, the Duke of Transylvania, who granted him a coat of arms in 1603 for the service he rendered in the wars against the Ottoman Empire. And this coat of arms was confirmed in England in the year 1625. Another person who was granted a coat of arms for their service in wars was Matthew Wood, a captain in Ireland in the year 1647. Another one was Auguste Jean Joseph Gilbert Emile, born 1775, who was awarded a coat of arms in the year 1810. He was a colonel in a regiment that fought during the Napoleonic Wars. The next way that you could acquire a coat of arms is if you had a position in the royal household or court. And one example of this was Adam Bland, who has many descendants in the United States living today. He was granted a coat of arms in the year 1563. And this was done because he was so good at his job. He was a skinner by occupation, and he worked his way up and was appointed Sergeant Skinner to Queen Elizabeth I. And for this, he was given lands and a coat of arms. The next way you could get one is if you had a political position or office. One such person was Sir Thomas Smith. He was a diplomat to Brussels, so diplomats could get a coat of arms. Another example, another Smith, William Smith. He was a judge, so that's another position. Another way was if you were a mayor or bishop, a significant town or city, often London or Dublin. And here we see the coat of arms of Sir Matthew Philip, a goldsmith who became Lord Mayor of London in the year 1463. Another example, Anthony Martin, the Bishop of Meath in Ireland, coat of arms in 1624. Next we see the coat of arms of John Williams, who was the Bishop of Chichester in 1696. Sir Thomas Smith, Mayor of Chester in 1579. Several more. The next way you could get a coat of arms was through scientific, academic, artistic, or some sort of other achievement or accomplishment or discovery. Classic example of that is Sir Isaac Newton, I believe in the year 1703, got this coat of arms featuring two crossed shin bones, I believe. Another example is Sir Humphrey Davy, who was awarded a coat of arms for his invention of the Davy lamp. It was a lamp used in mines that helped prevent explosions and saved countless lives. Another example is a coat of arms belonging to John Martin, and he sailed around the world with Sir Francis Drake, and his coat of arms was confirmed in the year 1581. The next way that you could get a coat of arms is if you were a merchant or artisan. Those families had coat of arms as well. oftentimes. One example was Balthazar Martino, who was born in the year 1636. They were a French clockmaking family. The 10th way was if you were a burgher or patrician, essentially an important or influential citizen in medieval times who could exercise political function. On the left, we see the coat of arms of the Pipin-Poy family, I believe from Brussels. And on the right, we see the coat of arms of the von Erlach family from Bern, Switzerland. They were patricians there. And 11th was the clergy. They had coats of arms as well, if you held a high position or office. One example was Jacob Mountain, born 1749 in England, who was appointed the first Anglican bishop of Quebec. And he was given a coat of arms in 1793. Now, if you enjoyed this video and would like to learn whether or not your ancestors had a coat of arms, please visit us at coadb.com. That's coadb.com, and click this Discover link. And we have a link in the video, in the comments, or before the comments in the description, I'm sorry. We have a link in the description that you can click that will take you to this page. And if you click this Discover Your History, you will see our pricing for our genealogy research service packages. And what we essentially do is we research your family's ancestry, going back as far as documents allow. Typically, we can get back a few hundred years, and sometimes that's enough for us to make an assertion as to whether or not any of your ancestors owned a coat of arms. And if they did, we will ascertain which one it was. Now, we do it by grandparent. So for one grandparent, we charge $249, and we'll research the lineage of one of your grandparents, going all the way up to see if anyone with that surname had a coat of arms. And then we'll do it for two grandparents for $429 and four for $999. Thank you very much. Please visit us at coadb.com.